There we go. All right. So, Taylor, just so fired up for you to join me here on This Stuff Matters, the podcast. And from my seat, as you start to get older, you'll see this someday in the distant future for you. But it's almost hard to believe that you're entering your seventh season earning a living playing baseball, professional baseball player. Because I remember when you graduated high school, and on one hand, it seems like the other day, but it's been quite the journey. And how cool and how amazing I've been, super impressed as I've followed you from a distance, but and just just what you've done is incredible. But I'd love to just ask you over this chunk of your life, these last 6+ years as a professional baseball player, how would you say the journey's been for you? And here you have had a little bit of time in this off season as you're thinking about it and looking ahead to the next season. How would you assess the last several years of your journey?
Honestly, I can't believe it, to be honest. And it's been something it's just been a blessing, truthfully. And for me, I I think ahead on a lot of things. I think of, whether it be planning for 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road. I like to plan. And for me, it was really cool just to see, where God's taken me in my life these past 6 years, and I'll even say throughout high school, because I like numbers. Baseball is all pretty much about almost getting to that point about numbers. But for me, I look at a lot of things, and I just look at like probabilities of where I'm at in my life, where I'm at in my career, where I'm at with my family, whatever it may be. And I think of probabilities, and I just go through it from time to time. And I'm like, wow, like he's been working in me. So it's been great these past 7 years. And I now have a dog and a wife, so it's been pretty great. So I love it.
Oh, fantastic. And, how would you say you've grown? I mean, there you launched out as this 18-year-old first round draft pick of the Cincinnati Reds back in 2016. And from there to here, what are some ways you can see? Obviously, your life situation has changed and all of that, but what about internally? What have you learned? Have you grown? That kind of a thing along the way?
Yeah, well, when you get drafted at 18 years old, and you're in suburbs of Atlanta, you live there your whole life, and they say, hey, you got to go to Billings, Montana. You kind of got to grow up a little bit, pretty fast, and if that, because I got a call. I think the draft was on a Thursday, and I think by Sunday I had to leave. So I mean, it was a quick. It was pretty quick how the tides changed a little bit. But for me, it's been a great journey. I've learned a lot about myself as a man. Learned a lot about myself as a man of God, husband, uh, son, brother, friend, whatever it may be. And for me, I think uh, understanding to keep God at the forefront, it's been a huge blessing for me, because I'd be lying if I sat here and I were to say that he's always been at the forefront. He's always been around for me, but at the forefront where it's like, hey, like this is my guide. This is my person. I need him, not want or anything. Like, I need him. And for me, that's been the biggest thing. And as I've grown a lot more and still learning, it's been it's I just see it as a blessing each and every day to just see how much I found out I need him in my life, and it's been great.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, isn't it wild? So you look back and you kind of, I'm guessing you would say, man, I'm not who I was, 7 years ago. I've changed and I've grown. I'm different. I've got different perspective and knowledge and experiences that have kind of done some shaping internally.
Absolutely. I think that I think one of the biggest things that I've been able to learn from and still continuously learn each and every day with, along with my wife, is learning that I can't do it all. When we were dating, it wasn't that mutual bond just yet. So it was, hey, I need to do this. I need to continuously do that, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And I'm doing it all by myself. And, looking back, I didn't realize how much it was breaking me down and stuff like that, mentally and physically as well. And asking for help, we have a community. I have a community of people that love me and want to help whenever something's happening. And it's the same way with me. I seek out trying to help people each and every day, because I know how hard it can be. Life is tough,
Sure.
and a community and a support system that's with you. You continuously learn that, yeah, you can try and do it all yourself, but there's going to be a point in time where you're going to have to just say, hey, I hands up, I need help. Knees to the ground, I need help.
Right.
So that's one of the things I'm learning, is understanding that asking for help, asking for guidance, asking questions about wisdom of things from people who are older than me, whatever it may be, doing that and not being, hesitant to even ask for it.
Mm. That's huge. This wasn't one of the questions I sent you ahead of time. Let me just build on what you're saying, because it's so significant here, Taylor. And I'd love to hear you talk about some of those key influencers in your life, through this last 6+ years. I mean, because you're right. I mean, what a powerful cornerstone lesson you're articulating, that, man, we're not designed by God to be isolated and to do it ourselves or make it on our own or those things. We need him first, and then we need the others that he sends. So critical. So have there been a mentor or two, a chaplain or two? And I think the baseball life you've lived has got to be a little bit hard in some ways, in the sense of sometimes you're moving, you're always on the move. I mean, finding a stable source. But now, and maybe I'm kind of giving 2 or 3 questions all at once here, you just answer from your heart. But
Yeah.
now you've got that most stable of human relationship sources of partnership, community. Now you're married. How awesome. I mean, I'd love to hear, you and your wife, how you guys met, had this, I don't know, you've been married, is it a year or in that
Yeah,
ballpark?
we just got married a year. Yeah, we just got married a year.
That's
Um,
awesome. And how,
year ago.
anyways, I'd love to hear you talk about her and the role of your marriage in your own life, but obviously it's for both of you, not just you, kind of a thing. But yeah, tell me about that, the strength in the marriage and the journey there, and then some of the other people that have been a real source of strength for you.
Yeah, I'll start with some of my mentors. My family. I talk about them a lot. I think that they've helped me out so much, more than they even know. My mom, dad, brother, immediate family. They've been a great. I don't even. They've just been a blessing to me each and every day of my life. I pick up the phone, I call them. We can be on the phone for 2 minutes or 2 hours. It doesn't matter. I know that we're just gonna talk and we're just gonna feed off of each other. And I love everything about them. Best thing my parents actually got last year were iPhones. And so now they're able to have better group chats. We're able to, be a little bit more accessible with that. So it's been a great it's been awesome with them, being able to FaceTime them, especially during the season, because sometimes we call, it's just like, but seeing their faces, it's lovely. I love doing that.
That's awesome.
And just having them, I'm in their prayers. My wife is in their prayers as well. And it's been great for them, because they continuously are feeding off of we're feeding off of each other. We're understanding, like, it's funny how you can, grow in your relationships, your marriages and everything like that. And you kind of almost, sometimes I think sometimes people may forget about the family aspect, the people who you grew up with and everything like that. And we had I think ever since I got drafted, we've grown closer. We might not be, together all the time, but we've been growing closer I say each and every day. Especially at 5 o'clock when my mom gets up and she's sending scriptures and stuff like that. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing up at 5 o'clock? Um, and just going through that,
Yeah.
people seeing that, I have mentors. When I was in high school, Coach Lowry, um, even after I've been drafted, Coach Lowry, Coach Reggie, Coach Reese.
Mhm.
Those are my guys that I've continuously, just in the high school aspect, the guys that I've continuously talk to regularly, figuring out, things of life, and I go to those guys for a mentor aspect. And there's a lot of other people, but those are kind of like, three guys I want to name right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've been, awesome to me, just maneuvering around life. Being a young man, like I don't even say young, yeah, young man, and
Yeah.
just maneuvering around life and its journey. And then along with my wife, just that bond that we have now, it's not I think the biggest thing for me is not under the biggest shift actually was understanding that she's not my girlfriend anymore.
Mhm.
She's my wife,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that protective leader role has kind of really been amazing for me, because I I have kind of like one job, is to serve him. Well, a few jobs actually, but
Yeah.
serve him and make sure that she's okay each and every day, and be the best husband I can each and every day to her. And that's been, for me, the coolest journey, is learning about her, learning about what makes her tick, allowing her to you know be the wife that she is to me, and accepting, a lot of things that she is, and loving her wholeheartedly, and continuously growing with her, because I'm understanding it's not just always the honeymoon stages all the time.
Yeah.
And it feels like, I'm not like, it feels like it.
Yeah.
But there's times, life comes along, and some things happen, and we work through it. And that's the biggest thing that we're learning, and we're growing with each and every day, is just learning and growing with each other, and making sure that we're together, even in the good, bad, whatever at times, and making sure that our vows are, prevalent each and every day.
Oh, that's so good. That's so strong. Let's switch back to baseball just a bit here, and part of what we're doing on our podcast is connecting the way sports so easily does. Connecting the lessons of how we live out our lives in the sports arena with the rest of life. But so here I know you've been working hard this off season. As you look ahead to spring training starting back up here in a few weeks, what are maybe one or two or three main goals for you in spring training? What are some of those things that you've been really dedicating yourself to working on, as you focus to get this new year started baseball wise?
Oh, it's been a lot. Wow. It's been a lot. I've been working, like, I've kind of been doing a lot this off season. I think it's been about 3 or 4 months in off season. Every month taken a trip to Seattle, gotten some work out there with the team, and some hitting guys out there. And then we had our meeting this year, and like end of the year meetings and stuff like that. And I was getting stats on, just my defense, of what I was doing really, really well on. Not much. I don't want to say not much improvement, because there's improvement for everybody. But we had a end of the year meeting, and I was looking at my stats, and I was like, I'm top 10 in this category. I'm top 10 in this category. I'm like, I gotta set like some goals. I set goals
Yeah.
every year, but it was very early on, probably about a week after the off season. I wanted to set these goals for my off season, and I saw that, and I was like, well, one thing that people have kind of always just said about my defense is that my arm's kind of not there. It's a good arm, it's a decent arm, gets the ball in, but I want to have some authority with it. I want to be
Mm.
Gold Glove caliber, player. I'm around Ichiro each and every day during the season. Mike Cameron, I'm looking at those guys. They've had a lot of success with their defense, Gold Gloves, all this other stuff. Franklin Gutierrez. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's a goal of mine. I want to just hone in on it, and I want to be the best fielder that I can be. It doesn't have to be technically Gold Glove, but that's a goal, but it doesn't have to be. If I can show that I can really be authoritative when it comes to throwing, that's one of the things I wanted to do. And I went up to one of my buddies. He just recently retired, Dalton Geeky, pitcher. He knows a lot about pitching. He knows a lot about throwing, the mechanics of throwing, how to use your body the right way. And he's a great teacher. He teaches a lot of kids at Mount Paran, a lot of kids that have success. And then all throughout the metro Atlanta area, he's a great coach, even for his young age at 27. Like he's, I think he's 28, but just what he's able to do with that. I just went up to him. I was like, hey, look, dude, I want to be a Gold Glover this year. And I was like, I need your help. I was like, send me your rates and everything like that. Like, I want you to work with me each and every day. This was about 2.5 months ago. And every day we go to workouts, I finish our workouts and I'm getting my, plyo balls, whatever it may be, my throwing balls. And I'm just working with him, and we're working on just sequencing. It's not, it's kind of funny because it's not like I'm a 5-year-old baseball player who's learning how to throw. Like I know a lot of good things. It's very minute things that I'm working on, but it's the difference between having the ball, this far off from a player and this far off from a player, and difference between outs, run, set, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But I literally just went up to him and I was like, hey, look, like, so we work 4 or 5 days a week, and my arm's gotten stronger. I feel a lot better. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm confident about going into the year, is that I'm gonna be a solid defender. And that's been awesome. And I've worked with him. He was in my wedding as well. So it was pretty cool.
That's so cool. Yeah. Well, so Taylor, have you ever read this book? I featured it, and I'm going to continue occasionally to feature it on the podcast, called Atomic Habits. Are you familiar with this book at all?
I just, when I say I just got that book, and if I go downstairs right now, I have the book.
Okay. Yeah.
I got it for Christmas. So it's downstairs. I want to get it because I don't want to make it seem like it's the
I got you. But it's interesting, it's a great book. It's been a bestseller and all those things. But, later as the book goes on, sometimes it gets a little bogged down in a lot of the details of the process. But it's fantastic. But in the very first chapter, he talks about kind of the story he uses is the British cycling team and whatever, all this stuff. But the British cycling coach said, he had a phrase. He says it's the aggregated, the aggregated accumulation of kind of small improvements, something like that. And so the focus is on the process of small improvements, and that you stay focused on that process over time, it brings huge results, kind of a thing. So, yes. But I hear you speak in that language in a sense, like, kind of honing in on, I don't know, the accuracy and just incremental small improvements in accuracy or strength or technique or whatever. Every little thing you can make a small improvement on, man, it adds up after a while, It's pretty cool. That's cool. So I was wondering if you'd heard of that or read that. I was going to recommend it if you hadn't read it.
Yeah.
But
yes, but I have the book, and I'm wow, that's weird because I just got that book for Christmas. It's downstairs right now.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, I think you'll enjoy it. Taylor, I'd love to hear you talk about the role of your faith and your faith journey, maybe in general, but also specifically how it's been challenged over the years. I would imagine the professional baseball journey you've been on has challenged, and your faith been tough, some difficulty along the way. And then if you want to wrap into that, just kind of what you're learning spiritually. I've heard you say some things already, so maybe you've kind of already answered that, but are there any growth disciplines or practices in your faith that you're working on right now?
Yes. Wow. I would say, I accepted Christ when I was 8, into my life. And it was I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a smooth ride. Going through high school, middle school, high school, kind of, going through that. And then I would say I would say towards 2019. 2019, I think that was the first time I faced adversity before in my life. But none to where, millions of people kind of saw, some of the adversity that I kind of gone through just on like a bigger, stage of, millions of people are looking at me, and it's just like, hey, what is it? And I'm going through a lot. And I don't want to say I got away from it by any means, but I one of the things I talked about earlier was, I felt like I needed to do everything myself. And I continuously thought, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can make this adjustment, I can do this, whether it be playing or anything like that, I can do this, I can do this. And
Mhm.
slowly but surely I'm breaking myself down each and every day. And it actually got to a point, I would say, even during COVID as well. Like, it kind of got to the point where I didn't want to hear anything from anybody. And I was to the point where I was just like, I just got to do it myself. I don't need to, I don't need you to send me a scripture. I don't need you to send me a lesson, or a small tidbit, or I was like, I don't need that. And looking back at it, it's kind of funny how I look back now, because I don't delete my messages. I saw my messages from like 2015 or something like that. And I'm looking back at these messages and I'm like, dang, that would have really helped during that time. And I didn't even read it. But I was looking during that time. I felt like I needed to do everything. And I was, like I said, I was trying to do all these different things, whether it be working out, whether it be handling some things financially, whether it be taking care of certain people, or all these things. I'm trying to do it myself. And sure enough, like I said, COVID hit. Now it's like I have no control over anything.
Yeah.
I can't. I was like, I can't even go outside. That's the crazy part. And during that time, like I said, I really didn't want to have anything to do with, I don't want to say anybody, because I did, but I didn't want to get any type of wisdom. I was shutting that out of my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And I would listen to it, but it was like, I hear you, but I gotta do this myself. I gotta do this myself. And then I think probably my going into my 2021 year, I think that was when I kind of just had my hands up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I kind of just, ever just fall on your knees and just be like, look, Lord, I can't do this. And then going from that, I broke that year in spring training. It was a challenging year, 2021, but I felt like it was a growing year for me. And then this year was in 2022. Well, last year, yeah, but 2022, that was a I think that was the biggest year for me, of really just sitting down and just saying, Lord, I trust you. I was like, I'm done, but I'm done trusting, trying to do everything myself.
Mhm.
Because I like to control things. I like to make sure that I'm in control of, certain things in my life, making sure that this is handled, this is handled, this is handled. And a few injuries this year, and I'm not gonna lie, I was down bad at times. I was really
Right.
down.
Yeah.
And sitting there, I remember I was in where was I had just gotten hurt. I was in Seattle at the time. and I just went to go get an MRI. I had to get an Uber there, and I had it was my hamstring, but it was at my in my insertion of the hamstring, so pretty much by the knee. So what makes your knee like bend like this is, one of the things, one of the muscles that helps. And so yeah, I was out there, and I was in the hotel room. I was sad. I couldn't walk, which kind of sucked, and I had a big brace on my leg, and I just kind of sat there, and I was just like, this kind of stinks.
Yeah.
And I remember I got back into the hotel room, and I had like I said, I had my brace on and everything like that. And I took my brace off, and I was walking, and I had my suitcase on the ground. And so I hit my suitcase with my leg after I took my brace off. And it was like somebody stuck a knife in my knee. And I just literally fell down. I was just sitting down there. I was just looking up at this guy. I was just like, yep, I think this is it. And I was just like, look, I was like, God, you got it. I can't. I was like, I can't do it. I can't. I'm done trying to do it all and everything like that. And that was like, I want to say that was kind of like my breaking point, really. Um, and going through that, I was just like, just talking to him, praying with him. My wife, she was a great, you know, she was amazing at that time in my life, because, she was there and making sure I was okay with everything. And that was like I said, that was a tough time in my life. And then dealing with it again, coming back after having you know, success in the big leagues this year, like that was a very, very, very tough time. And it pretty much was predicated on, I feel like the success was literally just letting go, and the saying, let go, let God.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Be able to be in the scripture, being the leader of my house when it comes to my faith.
Yeah.
Like that was like the biggest thing that I felt like I needed to do. And so far, like it's been amazing. And it's been challenged each and every day.
Oh
So
yeah.
uh I look back to it, and I'm like, yeah, that was kind of like my breaking point for the most part.
Taylor, that is huge. In my journey, I've never met anyone who enjoys a close walk with God who hasn't gotten there through the crucible of trial, and
Mhm.
and who honestly has been broken at some point significantly, or maybe many times. And yeah, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
Well, let me add one or two more questions here. So in your life, besides baseball, besides the blessing of being a husband and the precious wife that God's given you, what else in your life has got kind of captured some excitement for you? What are you passionate about or interested in? Maybe it's a hobby or a community cause or any of those kinds of things. What else is going on in your life?
Yeah, so two things. We're working with my agency, and a few other guys within my team, and then some of my friends. We've been able to raise some money for the Baller Foundation. And it's a foundation where they pretty much give kids who are going through some things uh health wise, to be able to give them a great experience, to um being a great experience, as far as like going to games and being out on the field, being able to just enjoy the little things in life, and being able to, I think that's actually a big thing in life, being able to enjoy that, and taking that all in. So we've been able to raise some money. We're still taking donations. We're still taking, all these things, for a chance to win some baseballs, for myself and a few other players. So that's been great.
That's great.
And I love it. It's been a great cause. And other than that, I mean, I got a dog. His name is Remy. He's a he's a sheepadoodle. He's amazing. He
That's
keeps
awesome.
he keeps me busy and occupied, and I love him so much.
Are
He's
you
the
training him? Is he well trained, or is he just kind of do whatever he wants?
Yeah, he's a puppy. He's he listens to me.
Yeah.
So I can say that. So he listens to me, and he doesn't listen to my wife as much. But he understands that my wife is the owner. He just sees me as owner dad type. He
Yeah.
sees her as owner big sister type. So yeah, so that's kind of like how he sees it, and he's the best. He's a sheepadoodle. He's getting big each and every day. He's
Yeah.
currently at doggy training school, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Good.
so he's doing well. So I don't like it when he goes there because he comes back and I don't know how he just gets bigger and bigger. So he's gonna be probably about 65-ish, 70 pounds. I'm excited. I'm so pumped for that. That dog is amazing.
He's off at spring training right now himself, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
training right now.
that's hilarious. Now they got to train you, and when they bring him back, right? They got to tell you kind of, well, now here's what you do, how you command or whatever the things are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Owner training in that sense. Yeah.
exactly.
That's awesome. Well, hey, so in the show notes for our podcast, we'll put a link to the Baller Foundation. That's so cool. So we'll
Perfect.
absolutely we'll draw some attention to that. All right, so just kind of finishing up here, Taylor. So give me one or two, if you got one, just of your favorite memories from your career so far.
Yeah.
You know, our world, we love to kind of hear those stories that aren't necessarily things you can just observe on TV, you know, kind of the insider story. What's one or two things from your unique experiences as a professional baseball player that stand out to you?
Who? Wow. Okay. Wow. There's. Oh, why she got. You. We had this yesterday, and I completely blanked, and I still blank. Well. Let's go minor league. Yeah, we can go minor league grinder style.
Okay.
This is Daytona Beach, Florida. I can't tell that story. I can't.
Tell a filtered version of it or something.
Yeah, I can. So so we had just we had won. We either clinched or won one of the playoff games or whatever it was. And I remember we had like food out and everything like that. We come back. Oh, we clinched for the first half of the playoffs. So we made the playoffs. This was around like July-ish, I want to say. And we clinched. And so we're celebrating in the locker room. It's awesome. It's great. They had food out, and it was hot food. And I remember like music was playing and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. And then I gave out like this huge roar, like a kind of like a house, like, let's go.
Yeah.
And as I'm like yelling, I'm like, let's go. I feel something hot just go straight to my eye. And I'm livid. I'm heated. I'm just like, somebody just threw like something on me, and now my eye is burning. And so I go, oh, and I'm like, what? I was like, what are we doing? And so it almost, I don't want to say it didn't burn my eye by any means, but it was super hot. It was mashed potatoes. And so I was livid. And I'm looking around to see who it was. And I look over, like kind of like the corner of my eye, I can see Tyler Stevenson literally just looking like right here, kind of like in shock. He took a spoon. I want to say he took a spoon, like one of those plastic spoons,
Right.
put mashed potatoes on it and flicked it. And I think he was thinking it was like get on me or something like that. We didn't have any clothes on. Well, we had our like underclothes on and everything like that, shorts and all that stuff. And I'm looking, I'm livid. And like he's looking at me, and I'm like, did you just do that? He's like, I'm so sorry, dude. So that at that point, Tyler's like one of my best friends. And so at that point, I'm so livid that I'm like, I don't want to be upset at him because he wouldn't hurt a squirrel or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm like, you just threw hot mashed potatoes. And it was one of those, it was the mashed potatoes that were on the like one of those plate things, and the fire's going
burner.
The burner. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me.
Who knew potatoes could hold heat that well?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just sitting there. I'm getting it off my eye. I'm like, there's no way. And then I would say, most recently, we had a brawl against LA this year, and I remember that. Not gonna lie, that was an experience because I wasn't playing that day. We're in Anaheim, and we had some stuff brewing, previously. John Boy Media has that all, settled. But I remember, I remember going into the like brawl, and I'm just looking around, and I'm like, because honestly, when that stuff happens and everything like that, you're looking around and you're just trying not to get hit. But then again, you're looking to see, and I found out that very fast. That's a story for a different day. But you're picking guys up, you're trying to get guys out, you're trying to figure out who's the victim, who's the antagonist. Like,
Perpetrator, yeah.
yeah, who is who, and so you're
Yeah.
picking guys off, and then you're trying to find guys that you know. And so I remember like punches were being thrown. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. So I just held one guy for like the whole duration of the time. And I was like, you're not going anywhere. I think he was trying to, I think he was the antagonist. I think he was trying to, do stuff.
Stir it up. Yeah.
Yeah, he just had adrenaline flowing.
Yeah.
I think he kind of had solid red, and I just want to make sure he was good. But it was one point in time where I told, we're over by their dugout. And so he's heated, he's seeing red. And like during that time, like you just try to get those guys out of the way.
Right.
So I have him not in a headlock, but like in like a arm, like a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I had him right here. And like he's over, like I bring him over to the dugout.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the trainers, and I don't know who they were, trainers or whatever it may be. And I'm like, hey guys, handle your guy. And so they're like, oh yeah, we got. So I'm about to go back over to like the brawl to see like who I can pick up or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I look back, but he's still going. Like they didn't even take him. And I'm like, dude,
he's back in it again.
Yeah, he's back. So he's like walking, and I'm like, and I run over. I'm like, get over here. And I'm just like, goodness, guys, get your guy. You can see that he's upset. It was a coach. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, during like these, like, bro, I'm like, get people out of the way.
Right. Pulling guys off.
Yeah. So I was just sitting there. I was like, this is hilarious. This was that was pretty funny. But I would have told a few other stories, but yeah, they got to keep it. Yeah.
Maybe we'll save those for a different environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I tell you, those it's never on a major league with those kind of guys levels, but I've been in some brawls in a sports and high school basketball. You kind of when it's all said and done and the dust settles, you're kind of glad to escape unscathed, because there's potential for some serious damage in the middle of some of that.
Yeah, we had not we, but I think there was I don't know if I'm saying his name, but there was a pitcher. I think he was getting off the rails and kind of tripped off the rails. I think he broke his elbow.
Yeah.
He was out for like, I don't know if he came back during the year or something like that. And so I'm like, yeah, whenever those things happen and everything like that, best thing to happen is to go away unscathed, and you're happy. You are happy because it's grown men. It's
right.
Grown men who literally
build up damage.
Their bodies. Yeah, build up their bodies to be the biggest guys in the world.
Yeah.
And they're all there. And you're just like, well, I'm around a whole bunch of upset men who have testosterone running through their body, and they're just ready to hurt.
Right.
This is interesting.
Yeah, and that rage factor, man. One wild man gets a little out of control. Whew, it's hard to rein in.
Yeah, he sees red, and he just doesn't care who's in front of him. It's just there. Yeah.
Oh man, you got to have that head on a swivel, and your spidey senses are finally tuned in. And man, yeah. Well, thanks for sharing those. That's those are the kinds of things, among many. I know that the average person like me, the fan, never experiences or sees or feels, and so to get to kind of have a vicarious explanation of it is awesome. Thanks for taking the time to share that. Oh, anything before we wrap up, anything else you'd just like to say, Taylor, just kind of out of your journey to share with people that'd be great for them to know or be encouraged by you?
Yeah, if you know, I love this quote. It's by C.S. Lewis, and it talks about humility, and it says humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. And so that's one of my favorite quotes. I love anytime I get to say that. I love it because that's such a that's such a huge factor in my life. And I try to live off of that. So that's like my biggest quote, and that's kind of like what I have to share. And then also for you, thank you. I have a chance to say thank you to you because you've always been in communications with me. You've always been somebody that I've looked up to, and I appreciate you in everything that you did and do. And what you did about almost a month ago at Bob Stevens' funeral, what you did for the family, that was huge. You might not know it or anything like that, but the words that you spoke at the funeral, the way that you said it, the way that you went through that whole, I would say, I don't know if it's a sermon or how it is, but thank you. That meant a lot to them, and thank you.
I appreciate that, Taylor. Thank you so much. I've just always been proud of you and observing you, watching you. As I think of you over time, I pray for you and will continue to. And independent of your success as an athlete, just being the man that God wants you to be, and you are an impact player in the kingdom and in the world, and you will continue to be, and your impact will flourish and grow. And if I can be on the sideline of your life, cheering you on and encouraging you, that'd be cool. So I'm thankful for you and proud of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And thanks for doing this with my podcast. And I know this will be a blessing to a lot of people.
Yeah, that'll be great, man. Absolutely. And thank you again for having me on. This is great. I love when we do podcasts. It's just free, it's flowy, and we just see where it takes us. It's amazing.
Good. All right, I'm going to stop recording.